Hello students, welcome to this session of Economics 2. So far we have discussed, hello students, today what we are going to do is we are going to discuss about the resource allocation and strategic management. Now resource allocation and strategic management is a very important tool because it is a competitive advantage or a kind of an asset which you have got which can be utilized to give a boost to your company. Now, resource allocation is a process of assigning and scheduling the project task. Now, resources are the lifeblood of any of a project management, and resources are used to carry out the project. Now, there are 6 different stages particularly for a resource allocation. Divide the project first. If you have a larger task, a larger project, what you need to do for this project is you have to subdivide this project into different tasks. The similar thing as you have been looking into the kind of a smaller goals or an objective, the similar is the case here. Now what you have to do is once your task has been divided, then you have to assign the resources to these tasks. Once that's been done, the third actually step is to determine the resource attributes. What are these attributes? We are going to actually cover this later. Fourth is resource leveling. Fifth is reallocate the resources as and when it's necessary. And last is the task resource utilization. Now we are going to actually take the resources one by one. What are the resources? First important resource is labor. Human resources are an integral part of most of the projects. The project team that needs that requires active management like satisfying work environment that doesn't involve conflict with the other team members. Second is making important contribution to the project or a greater society. Third is leaving the project with something more than that they started with, for example, additional knowledge. Second most important resource here is equipments. What are these equipments? The tools and equipment that are used to produce product but does not become a part of it does not become the part of the production process must be identified and allocated to each task. Now, each and every task has a certain equipments to be used. They are the ancillary functionaries which are actually going to help to the overall task in production. Each equipment must be paid a reasonable rate, and that takes into account the wear and tear experienced during the project. So as you see, basically there are different wear and tear rates in any of the project, and these things are being actually even calculated here in terms of equipments. Third important resources is the materials. The materials are the final product part allocated at a right time, and their availability is confirmed. Now, materials are something which has been available and which have been used into the final product, and they are being actually available at that right point of time. Correct? In most of these strategic resource management, the most important factor being time, because you need to understand that very moment you need that material to be there. Correct? Fourth important thing is facilities. Now, facilities are a building and work areas that are often significant cost to the project. They are not readily available. They also require space in the project. Facilities are largely like an infrastructure which is being used. As you have seen the equipment, the same is the case with the facilities. Facilities are being used to enhance the actually product which you are being producing. A fifth is miscellaneous requirement. Most of the project requires other resources that impact the budget or the scale. Okay, now we are going to discuss the resource attributes. Now, what are these different attributes? Now, attributes are the larger characteristics or the larger functionaries given to these resources. Now, first attribute is grade. Now, what is this grade? Every product, everything particularly has a technical specifications, size, shape, color. Correct? Everything has its technical specification. So basically, grade comprises of these technical specification. Second is skill. What specific human resource skill you required for this? So that is something which has been actually accommodated in the skill part. Third thing, most important thing is quality. Now degree, but there is a difference between the quality and grade. The degree to which resource meets the specification is known as the quality. Quality is also the conformance with the predetermined standards. Now predetermined standard is what? Again, that is basically the specification. So basically quality is a conformance with the predetermined standard. Quality is also the state of zero defect. When there is no defect which has been there in a product or a services, basically you say it is a good quality product. So these are the resource attributes. The quality is also one of the resource attribute. Now there are also resource specific attribute. Every resource is also a specific actually entity, and it also has a specific attribute like size, shape, length, speed, color, strength, etc. Fourth, these Fifth most important point here is availability. Now, as you have seen, basically most of the projects are being made based on the Gantt chart or the kind of a network chart. But then they are not actually identifying the resource availability at that point of time. So based on this, what you need to do is you need to make a resource calendar. So what is a time when the resource would be available to you, how you would be deploying that resource. So these all important things would be actually covered under the resource calendar. So basically once you have the network chart ready with you, the second most important step is to make a resource calendar. Once you have made this resource calendar, it can be actually given. Okay, now we have also discussed the attributes. The most important thing, as we have already talked on about the project steps, are the resource leveling. So what is this resource leveling? Resource leveling is to optimally use these resources. Let's say there is a person called as Bob. Now, one day you are asking Bob to work for 2 hours, and second day you are asking him to work for 18 hours. So once he's been asked to work for 18 hours, what would happen is you have to pay overtime to Bob, which has not been feasible to you. So what you need to do is you need to level the resources. You need to do this. Basically, you are giving him the optimum work on day in and day basis. So basically the resource leveling has to be done so that there is no overuse of a resource on a one single day. At the same time, there is not an actually minimal use of the resources on one single point of time. So what you are doing is you are leveling the whole resource. Fifth is reallocate the resources as and when necessary. Sometimes basically as per the resource calendar, that is a time when the resource is not available to you, but then it was been available to you on the next point of time. So what you need to do is you need to reallocate the resources basically based on this schedule. The last thing is the task resource utilization. Now task resource utilization is what? The utilization rate. Now what is utilization rate? Number of billable hours divided by number of total hours. So what you are going to do is basically your total hours is to be divided by number of billable hours would be divided by number of total hours. So basically that is your utilization rate. There is a stern actually economic parameter behind it, because if you are not utilizing his capacity, if there is an underutilization of capacity, basically that's a loss. And if there is a loss, there is no actually strategic use of that resource. So basically what you need to do is you need to actually identify this utilization rate for each and every of them, and based on this you are going to actually make your plan. So what we have done today so far is we have discussed the resource allocation process in detail. I have sent you the notes as well. Kindly go through the notes. It is in detail. I have given you an overview of this, so you would find some time, and this is one of the most important concept in the strategy literature. Please go through this. If you have any doubts pertaining to this, you can actually put me a mail and I am going to respond you back. Thank you. Have a nice day ahead.